So welcome to How to Live in Love. My name is Alexander Bell, and this podcast is in partnership with the book of the same name, How to Live in Love, which is free to download from my website, alexanderbell.org, along with all of the ambient music that I've composed over the past 20 years, which is also free to download. There are also hundreds more articles on the subject of inner peace, expansion of consciousness, divine awareness, healing, spiritual liberation, and physical health. And you'll also find many ecstatic dance meditations which you can do at home, which help you release fear, negativity, stress and tension from your body and restore a sense of joy and freedom to your heart. And there are also a couple of radio stations, internet radio stations, with some very beautiful music which you can listen to 24 hours a day. That's all at alexanderbell.org. So this particular podcast is entitled Salvation from Darkness. Now, spiritual darkness is essentially created by fear. It is the realm of consciousness where love is absent, peace is absent, and spiritual light is absent. It is the cold darkness of fear, which, when taken to its extreme, is terror. This can also lead to hatred, which is the consequence of darkness permeating our heart to such a degree that true peace, forgiveness and compassion are driven out totally. If we want to understand what hell is like, it is essentially the state of dwelling in extreme fear and hatred. If love is like a golden flame emitting light and peace, then hatred is like a black flame emitting fear and misery. So the more we move into fear, generated by our thinking mind, and allow it to take root in our heart, the more spiritual darkness we experience. This is when the world looks bleak, the future is devoid of hope, we feel weak, and we become totally preoccupied with our own safety and security. We stop thinking about how to help others, and we begin consuming more, worrying more, and isolating ourselves in our mental fears. We become totally disconnected from the divine strength, courage, and light which come through our heart, because we are not giving any attention to our heart. We are obsessed with our fearful thoughts and the visions of future suffering they offer us. So the root of all of this is fear, generated by our thinking mind. Without fear and without negative thinking, there can be no spiritual darkness, because our mind is unclouded and clear, and free to perceive the light of truth, which is divine. It is God, it is goodness, it is love, and we will see that it is all-encompassing and all-pervading when we simply allow it to shine through our mind and through our heart. All of our very convincing, fearful and negative thoughts simply create black holes in this divine reality of light, and we enter into them when we give them our attention, and we get sucked into fear, division and conflict. But we need not do this. Instead, we need to be very vigilant of our thoughts and consciously choose to move our attention away from conceptual thinking so that we can experience the simplicity, the light and the innocence which are found in our heart, which is where all beauty originates. So we simply choose to ignore all negative and fearful thoughts, knowing that they are just mental deceptions. And we come back to a sense of trust and faith in the almighty power of divine goodness, which is what God is. There is no greater force in existence, and when we fully trust in it, fear cannot be present. It is only a lack of trust which allows fearful thoughts to get our attention. Trusting fully is the key. This is total faith in the protective power of God and in the miraculous healing power of divine love. And remember that we have to help ourselves. We must be disciplined and stop giving our attention to darkness and negativity in the form of TV programs, movies, mainstream news, politics, pessimistic and negative music, and so on. All of these things will leave their mark on our mind and create fertile soil for fearful thoughts to take root in our awareness. In fact, there is a great deal of information in the media and entertainment industry which is specifically designed to create darkness in our mind and generate fearful thinking. So we have to be very careful what we listen to, what we watch and what we read, because our clarity of mind is precious, and our purity of heart is even more so. They need nurturing and feeding with beauty, with spiritual truth, with goodness, with healthy living, with deep gratitude, prayer, and total faith in the power of the divine. This is our personal responsibility, and it is very important that we fulfill it. God's powerful protection and peace is indeed here for us, and we can become aware of it in our mind and in our heart if we just stop giving our attention to fear, division, darkness, hostility, self-indulgence, endless consumerism and distraction. If you truly want spiritual illumination, empty your mind of desires for anything else, and turn your thoughts towards the goodness of God. Allow your heart to relax and become fully receptive to the beauty, purity, healing and strengthening power of divine love, which is all that is true and real. Darkness is but a shadow of fearful mental illusions, which we make seem so real with our attention. So put your attention where it belongs, in the light and in the peace which fill your heart when you allow it to relax, when you trust fully in the protective power of God. Only then is fear cast out from your entire being, as you dwell in the light, in Christ's full and loving divine presence. Thank you for listening to this podcast, and please visit alexanderbell.org to download my free book, How to Live in Love, my free music, read all of my transformational articles, try some ecstatic dance meditations, and enjoy my internet radio stations, which are very healing, beautiful, and soothing for the heart. Thank you for listening, and please come back soon. Goodbye.